What's going on, guys? This is Macleod GF, and today I'm going to be doing my first LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2016 Captain America Civil War set review on the Black Panther Pursuit. And the set number for this one is 76047. The recommended ages are 7 through 14, and it has a piece count of 287, while the price point is $29.99. And I'm sure you're asking right now, how did I get this set? Well, thankfully here in the US, we have a very limited franchise called Meyer. I don't live anywhere near them, but thankfully they do not care about LEGO's street date of March 1st for the Civil War sets, or any sets coming out on that day for that matter. And while I may not live near one, thankfully I have an awesome friend, Aaron, Legomatic9, who does, and he was able to pick up this set and the Crossbones Hazard Heist for me and send them out. And I am here to review them 2 weeks ahead of time, and that is awesome. So huge thanks to him. Link to his channel will be down in the description below. He's already got his review up on his channel of this exact same set, so definitely check that out. But yeah, if you saw my analysis video on the Civil War set, you probably already know that I'm not exactly thrilled about these sets. While there are some awesome things like Black Panther here trickled throughout them, it's just overall a disappointing wave. And I mean, hopefully you disagree and you're more excited for these sets than I am. Regardless though, we're going to get into all the reasons just as to why I think this set is actually pretty worth it. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so starting off with Black Panther debuting as a LEGO minifigure. This is honestly one of the best figures I think that has come out of all three of these sets. And I mean, yes, there are a couple things that do bother me that I'll go over, but I mean, overall, this minifigure is fantastic. And just because of the design alone, I mean, you look at the front of this figure, it looks amazing. The design work is incredible, and the same can be said for the back, and it is so accurate and really well done. It's just, there are a couple things that do bother me about our first Black Panther minifigure here, and those two things being, one, I was kind of hoping for a helmet, and to be honest, I like what LEGO did here. I like that they at least did something for sure. You can see what they did was they made this like additional Darth Maul piece on the top of his head, just like the same one that Darth Maul has, and except they have ears on it instead on the back there. And it looks good from certain angles, but just looking at it straight up, it is definitely a little odd to look at how it is just like completely flat. And the printing is nice on it. It's just, it definitely was not really my first choice. I much rather would have preferred a new helmet. But I mean, getting, you know, one of these new pieces with a, you know, some ears molded on, I mean, that works. At least it's something. And something I do want to point out before we move on here is this piece is ABS plastic. This is not rubber like you might expect. The ones that we've gotten for Darth Maul in the past are rubber. This one for Black Panther is not, so just be aware of that. That's definitely a plus. And yeah, now one other thing that bothers me is the lack of leg printing, because you have all this great detail, this awesome design, it looks sweet, and then it just stops. And that's a little bit of a shame. I think that, you know, if anyone was going to get leg printing in these in these sets, aside from, you know, War Machine and the Mark 46 suit, it's definitely Black Panther. I think this figure needed it, and the fact that it's absent is definitely a little bit of a letdown, but again, the design work and the fact that we at least get something definitely makes for one hell of a Black Panther minifigure. It's just, I'm going to be taking a totally different approach when the time comes for me to make my own custom version. So yeah, definitely hands down the best part of the set. Next up, our Civil War Captain America Unmasked. I want to say I like this minifigure, but it's a little disappointing, and I have reasons to back all of this up. We'll start off, I just want to start off by saying I do like the hairpiece. I'm glad LEGO's already taking the Superman hairpiece that they debuted, you know, in the winter sets, and you know, we're already seeing it in new colors. I think that's great, and I think it works for Steve Rogers. It's just beyond that, it's I like the face design. I like what they're going for, and of course LEGO minifigures need to smile here and there. That's a given, right? It's just, I have a totally different idea for this double-sided face that I really feel like could have worked better. So try to follow me here. Take the eyes from this figure and these two little marks next to the mouth. Take those, and then remove this mouth design, replace it with a more stern, aggressive facial, aggressive mouth design. And then if we look at the alternative facial expression, which is this really awkward, surprised look, let's just get rid of this entirely. and then have this side be the smiling version, you know, the smiling facial expression, because this just feels out of place and just kind of out of character and unnecessary. So I mean, personally, I just would have gone with what I just explained to you. You know, actually, you know, making a graphic of that is a whole other thing, so hopefully you're able to picture what I just said, but I just don't really agree with the design choices on the head, even though it's really minor, and I mean, for my custom minifigure, I'm not going to be, you know, making an actual Steve Rogers face anyway. Next up, though, we have the shield, and I kind of liked the difference between the movie versions of Captain America that had the dark red shield, because to be honest, I liked the look of the dark red shield more, but now the red is just more so the base standard color for these Captain America minifigures, and it's really not that big of a deal. It's fine for the most part. I just kind of, like I said, I like the dark red a little bit more, and I still am holding out that hope that it will return one day. Then the torso has its own set of problems. That it's understandable though, because in Captain America Civil War, Steve Rogers basically has the exact same suit with just like 3 minor differences or so. And one of those differences includes the red you see on the chest here. That's absent from his new suit in Civil War. But I mean, this is the exact same torso from the Age of Ultron suit, same suit from Age of Ultron, just with those minor differences. So I mean, there's no reason to print a whole new torso just because there's a little bit of red on the chest that doesn't need to be there. So I mean, I think that's totally fine. I'm just going to paint right over that for my custom minifigure, and it's fully understandable why LEGO didn't print a new torso. And then there's the back, if you haven't seen that before. I mean, it's still a great torso to see, and I'm glad to see it again for the Civil War minifigure here, even though, you know, it has a minor inaccuracy there. So yeah, it's definitely a nice figure for the most part. I just kind of wish the head was a little better. Aside from that though, it is a pretty good figure. And finally, the Winter Soldier himself, Peter Quill. Yeah, I said this in the analysis video I did for these sets. I really like the torso on this minifigure. I think that looks great and super accurate to Bucky's new outfit in the movie. The same could be said for the back of the torso. I think that looks awesome. And the same could be said for the arm. I think that this chrome arm with this new design printed on it, this is an updated Winter Soldier arm design. It's got all these new chrome lines added on there for even more metallic looks to it. It's just, it's such a great arm printing with such awesome depth to it. And then the faded effect that they added to the star. I think the printing on the torso and the arm, I think all of that is phenomenal. And I'm really glad that LEGO even went as far as to include these new pistols and bring these back into superhero sets, because these pistols are so much better than the Alien Conquest pistols. It's just, yeah, the face. This is a problem, and while, yes, I understand that this side of the face doesn't look that bad for Bucky, right? It's just when you turn it around, this side of the face looks so much more like Chris Pratt that it's just, you can't pass this off as being Sebastian Stan. You can't pass this off as being Bucky Barnes. That's Star-Lord. That's Owen from Jurassic World. That is not the Winter Soldier. And I like when LEGO rehashes heads, but only when they do it right. In this instance, it just doesn't work. They should have printed a new head, because when it comes to characters, you know, when you have a head from the Jurassic World sets and then you carry it on over into superhero sets, you know, like for instance, the Vincent D'Onofrio character in Jurassic World, his head is being used for Kraven the Hunter in the upcoming Spider-Man sets. That's fine. General Hux's head being used on Captain Boomerang in the upcoming superhero sets in August, that's fine too. But when you take a character who exists in the same universe and then you give him that head to another character, it's just, yeah, here's the problem. What happens in Infinity War if the Winter Soldier and Star-Lord are in the same movie? I guess we're just going to have 2 Chris Pratts. It's just, it's not a good idea. This should have been a new face, and I just find this to be so disappointing. Thankfully, I've had an alternative to this for like a couple months now. It's just, man, I just found this to be a real shame, to be honest with you. Hopefully, it doesn't bother you as much, but personally, I think that this was really a missed opportunity for having a really complete-looking Bucky Barnes minifigure. Again, love the printing on the torso, absolutely adore the printing on the arm, and I'm so glad these pistols have made their return return to superhero sets because, my god, they're so much better than Alien Conquest pistols, like I said. So yeah, aside from that though, that is it for the minifigures included in the Black Panther Pursuit and my opinions on them. And now we're going to take a look at the 3 builds included in this set. Okay, so we'll take a look at the truck and the motorcycle in a little bit, but for now we're going to focus on Black Panther's jet here. And this is actually a really nice design. It's really sleek, and while you're building it, you kind of begin to realize that it's actually, I mean, I'm not sure if genius is a little too generous of a word, because it wasn't like mind-blowingly impressive, but it was still a few little, you know, design quirks here and there that I thought were actually pretty cool while building it. So yeah, the problem with it is, while it is a great design and it does look great, there are a couple things that you know, really stand out to me. First of all, the additions of purple and green. Now, the purple is more understandable. I really doubt that there are going to be any purple striping should Black Panther actually have a jet in the movie. But what really bothers me is the green that you see inside the cockpit and, you know, kind of toward the back of the build. It's just, it feels really out of place, and like it just should not be there. Those should be dark bluish gray pieces. It's just, it's really awkward. So, I mean, that's really my primary gripe. And then my second critique with this thing, and again, the design is great. It looks really awesome. It's just, there really isn't a lot of playability, and for someone like me, that's not a problem. That's fine. I mean, you do get a spring-loaded shooter on the truck that I'll show you in just a second, but in terms of the jet itself, all you've got on the bottom are a couple of stud shooters. And if you don't know how stud shooters work, all you do is you just push down on these gray levers here, and then it fires the stud, and it's pretty much just as simple as that. Thank God they give us extra ones, because every time I fire one of those in a review, it flies off the table. So yeah, there's that, and then also the other playability feature, and this is what kind of, you know, makes it seem very limited, is you've just got those stud shooters, and then the cockpit opens, and you can put Black Panther inside, and that's it. Now, before we actually put him in, though, you can see inside the control panel is really cool. It's got a nice little graphic on there. No idea if it's actually supposed to look like that, but it is a cool little sticker put on a 1x2 light bluish gray cheese slope. And then right here on the back, in this jumper plate here, on top of this jumper plate, we've got a fire extinguisher. And I mentioned this in the analysis video. Why? And a lot of people I saw, you know, brought up the fact that, you know, it encourages, you know, safety first for children, and that's cool. But is it really necessary? I just feel like it does nothing for the set. I mean, for playability, maybe. It's just a detail that I don't really think needs to be in this set. It was also in the Avenjet space mission. I think there's a fire extinguisher probably in the other 2 Civil War sets too. It's just something LEGO is doing with these superhero sets now that I don't think is all that necessary. Maybe you disagree. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I just find it to be really awkward. But anyway, you can see there is a 1x2 available space for Black Panther inside the really green cockpit, which again is really awkward. But if we go ahead and close the cockpit piece, you can see over here on each wing we've got 3 stickers each, and these are actually really awesome, adding some extra detail here. And on each one, on these 2x4 slope pieces here, we've actually got a little bit of African dialect that you can see right here on this sticker here, and then the same right here on this sticker as well. And it does not appear to be the exact same text. It's more so like inverted. So I mean, it's still really cool though regardless. And yeah, so that's a little detail that you can see incorporated onto this build. And aside from that, that's really it. It's a really awesome design, very limited playability. Don't know why there should be any green on this build, and to be honest with you, if it were up to me, I would probably take the purple off too, but it's hands down, aside from Giant Man, probably the best design out of all these Civil War sets. So the truck is very basic in terms of design. It really doesn't offer a lot. It's mainly just here for playability, and that's totally cool. I mean, it does kind of look ridiculous. I doubt this is going to end up being an action set piece in Captain America Civil War. You'll probably see it off in the background, like the airport sequence or something. But it's you know, again, playability, it's great. So you can see right here we've got a 1x2 available space for Captain America to sit down. Before we do so, you can see that right here we've got a steering wheel piece, and that's present in the build. And then we also have a really sudden and awkward change in, you know, like pace, I guess, for this design. And it's kind of, you know, this whole thing is very basic, and then you just have this. the stud shooter just sticking out right in the driver's seat. It is just, it's not nearly as bad on the front. It blends in really well in the front, but right here, man, just be careful when you take Cap and you put him in there, because I think that's definitely going to be a problem that this build presents, is people are just going to be, continuously accidentally firing it and potentially losing it because I mean, if when I was younger, I would lose things like this, like basically as a hobby. So yeah, that's definitely something to look out for. But right here, we've got the mirrors, which are just a couple of basic hinge pieces, and then you just have a 1x2 black slope slapped on each one of those to represent the mirrors, and that's totally cool. Right here, we've got the windshield, which is represented by a basic gate piece on a couple hinges, so that's nice. And then on the front here, you can see we have a license plate sticker that reads MB11630, and then on the back we have the exact same number, MB. You already heard me say it 2 seconds ago. So yeah, now if we go ahead and take Captain America and put him right there on that 1x2 available space, you can see that we do have a 2x4 available space right here on the back for Bucky, and I guess you could argue Black Panther too, if at some point in the movie they all come to terms. Regardless, you can put all 3 characters in this Jeep, and that's definitely a really nice touch. And speaking of which, you can see right here we do have Task Force as a sticker as well, right here on this side of the build, and then on the opposite side as well. So that's a nice little detail. No idea what it's really meant to imply, but aside from that, it has 4 wheels, and so that's cool. And by the way, if you want to see another character in the passenger seat of this build, you're going to have to take off Captain America's shield and also the stud shooter, because otherwise no one is sitting next to him. So just one little thing to note on. It's overall a nice little build for added playability, but again, it offers nothing in terms of design. And I guess we'll just go over it really quick now that I have everything kind of set up here already and we're closing out here. The motorcycle. The motorcycle is okay. I didn't really get a good look at what motorcycle Bucky is riding on in the trailer for Civil War, but it still does look, something like it, I guess. It's very basic. It's just a very basic motorcycle. There's nothing on the back of it. Really, the only additional piece that it has is the clear stud on the front for the light. So, I mean, aside from that, it's a very basic motorcycle, and it's nice that they included it, though, even though I think, in Civil War, it's probably only going to be present for, like, one sequence. So, aside from that, that is it for this entire set, guys. The Black Panther Pursuit, it's overall a good set. I mean, do I think that this is, an amazing set? No, I mean, the build of, the Black Panther, his jet is fine. It's just, this whole side of the set, I could live without. And that's just me. That is totally just me. But do I think you are getting a good set for $30? Yeah, totally. You're getting 3 iconic characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe that are going to be in Captain America Civil War, a really awesome jet, and a nice little truck for playability, and plus the motorcycle. So, I mean, aside from that, that is it for this review, guys. And for the love of God, that's it for this review, guys. Damn it. Anyway, okay. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the box, instruction manual, extra pieces, and we will wrap up this video. Also, I'm going to do the comic book. I almost forgot. That's going to be there too. So let's do that. The box is definitely pretty sweet, depicting the exact same, airport final battle sequence that I think we can all expect to be the climax of the film. And you can see we've got Black Panther in his jet chasing down Bucky, and then Cap pursuing in the little truck there. And then we've also got the Captain America Civil War logo in the bottom right corner, which is so awesome to see on a Lego set box. And then on the top of the box here, we've got all 3 minifigures included with this set. Again, battling it out, and Captain America sporting the actual size reference right there on the top. And then on the back of the box, you can see we have the exact same scenario playing out in just a different fashion. And then we got Bucky and Cap right here on not their own separate graphic and advertisement for Lego Marvel, or Lego.com/Marvel Superheroes, another Civil War logo, comic book included, all of that good stuff, all the features that I just went over. So yeah, aside from that, it's definitely it's a box. The instruction manual is pretty much exactly what you'd expect it to be. It's just a 70-page build, and you can see if we go ahead and flip to the back here, you can see that number right there in the bottom left corner with the features that you just saw on the back of the box, just pasted over onto here. And then if we go ahead and flip a little bit further down here, you can see we have an advertisement for the entire wave of Civil War sets, which, it's only 3 this time around, as opposed to like the Age of Ultron's 5, or I believe 6. I think it was 5. But anyway, you can see we do have an advertisement for Lego.com/Marvel Superheroes as well, updated with all the new stuff for the new sets that came out along with the video game. Speaking of the video game, we also have an advertisement for that right here over on the right as well. So yeah, aside from that, that's really it for the instruction manual of the Black Panther Pursuit. Next up, the comic for the Civil War sets. Honestly, I kind of like the Marvel cover and the Dawn of Justice cover that we had in the recent winter sets more than this. It's not really the best one, I think, of the three, but still okay regardless. And again, I'm just going to flip through this. It kind of got messed up, so I'll try to keep as much glare off of these as I possibly can. And yeah, so you can just go ahead and pause at each one of these. I mean, the illustrations, as I always say, are fantastic, and I'm so glad that LEGO includes these consistently with all of their superhero sets. But it's just, man, these reviews are so long as it is, and these do not help. But yeah, so moving on through the final set of pages here, you can see it's not really giving away too many spoilers from the movie from what I can see. You can see on the back here, the checklist is one of the most badass looking checklists I think we have had in a while. That looks so awesome. One thing you have to see on the back of this thing, look at that Ant-Man micro figure. That looks amazing. I cannot wait to give you guys a good close-up shot of that in the superheroes, airport battle review. That's going to be so cool. I mean, man, that looks so much better than I could have possibly imagined LEGO to have printed onto that little micro figure. So yeah, just had to show you that. It looks so sweet. And finally, the extra pieces. There really isn't a lot going on here. Just a bunch of tiles, studs, cheese slopes, and I mean, you got the extra spring-loaded shooters, so that's nice. But the best part of these extra pieces, you get an entire extra Black Panther headpiece. Now that is awesome. I mean, the customizing possibilities are like unreal. I just did not expect LEGO to include an extra one of these. It's got the printing and everything. So I mean, yeah, just did not expect that, and it's definitely worth noting. That's awesome. So aside from that though, guys, that is it for this review in its entirety. And yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap up this video.
Quill! We've been looking everywhere for you, man.
You have almost as much hair as the rodent.
I'm Groot.
Who the hell is Quill? Alright guys, and there you go, my review on the Black Panther Pursuit, the first Civil War review. I can't believe this already happened, but if you enjoyed this review, maybe found it informative, or if this helped you in deciding as to whether or not you want to pick up this set, definitely let me know by dropping this video a like below and or your opinion on anything I might have said, anything you might agree or disagree with, or any mistakes I might have made. It's all really, means a lot and definitely goes a long way, and it's all really, very much appreciated. So, yeah, this set, overall, I mean, yes, it has its problems. It's not a perfect set by any means, as you already heard me say, but there are some positive things. The Black Panther and Bucky figures alone, even though it is Star-Lord's phase, Bucky's still a great figure. The Black Panther is awesome for what LEGO decided to do, and the Jet has a great design. You already heard everything I had to say, so I mean, for $30, yeah, I would say go for it. It's worth it. It's a good set overall. So, yeah, you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. By the way, links to all three of those are always down in the description below as well. And very soon, guys, I'm going to be posting my first teaser photos for my Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice custom minifigures, my next huge project that I'm working vigorously on to make sure I finish probably at least a week and a half before the movie actually comes out, so I can actually get it showcased and, be on my way to actually a pretty awesome trip that I have planned with my buddies to see the movie. So, yeah, that's it though, guys. First Civil War review. Again, that happened. Okay, so I'll see you later. All right. Bye.
What dialect?
Wakanda, Wakanda.
A few moments later.
Corner hand, right corner hand, that's not how you say that. I believe to be like 69, okay, 70 pages, because I don't want to give people that opportunity. America's to shit. Yeah, to shit. That sounds better. 76047. The recommended ages are 7. Shit. Alright, shit.
You see, this guy made a suit out of vibranium.
Shut up! I like my frisbee. Official LEGO set box shit. I mean, a lot, shit. Can you really count the motorcycle as a third build? I don't know. I don't care.